Anime, by far my favorite medium for shows and movies to be made in. However, just watching these doesn't really satisfy me. For ages, I've wanted to make one myself. And so, since I picked up Blender recently, I thought, well, why not give it a shot? April 20th, the day I made my first attempt. But I mean, really, we don't need to see it. It's not that important. No, stop! After a very needed model change and following a few tutorials, it turned out a lot better. Although, it doesn't stop there. I had just found this godsend of a video. Very inspired, I decided to make renders of all 3 Evas. A few days later, boom, bam, and boom. Throughout that short time I made those, I learned so much. Watched plenty more tutorials, learned how to make the lighting look better, the colors, and especially how to use Photoshop. Most importantly though, it gave me motivation. I started thinking, can I actually do this? Personally, I think the rendering peaked at EVA 00, and the worst was by far EVA 02. Sorry, Asuka. I also did a few more renders, like this was my first attempt at an EVA render. Feeling like I could rule the world, I tried a render of Godzilla and an ODST from Halo. Both sucked. Maybe I fluctuate in motivation too quickly, but my spirits plummeted. Were the EVA renders just luck? Do I suck at this? Is this actually possible? Were all questions swirling in my head. I would follow tutorial after tutorial to the dot, and yet my renders kept looking like trash. There are so many renders I can't even show you because I deleted them out of hatred. From that day on, I didn't even touch Blender until 12 days later. With a sudden newfound motivation, a few more tutorials to follow, and being at a reasonable spot in school, I opened Blender again. First, I made this thumbnail for a short film that will never exist, just to prove to myself I can make non-EVA renders look good. After that came a beautiful, albeit laggy cloud shader I made with this video. With another video, I improved my cell shader so that it was able to respond to colored lights. I was on a roll, but I pushed my luck and kept going. I tried making full-on scenes again and again, and it didn't work. Just like before, my motivation slipped out of my fingers, except for a thread that got stuck on my long fingernails. 5 days later, I tried a final render, and it sucked just as much. There goes my last thread of hope. Fast forward 9 days from then. I sit down in my chair, open up my recording software, and say, screw it. This time, I was gonna get it right. Following another tutorial, nope, that looks like garbage. However, like something straight out of an anime, I pull out my secret weapon. A scene I made the day prior by downloading a random skeleton model and changing the materials because I was bored. The possibilities for this scene were endless, but I had only 2 things in mind. First, I was going to make an 80-frame animation of the skeleton showing off his sword. And second, if you saw the thumbnail, I was gonna make the silly skeleton meme. Things were going well with the animation, until I encountered my biggest and, I guess, only issue. The skeleton looked so darn robotic. It looked poorly animated, and I wasn't gonna take that. So, I kept animating subtle changes to each part of the body, like having the right arm move and shift slightly. And over time, it went from looking like this to this. Cool, right? Well, now that I know I can make a good-looking animation, excluding the iffy lighting and a few other things, it's time for probably what you were waiting for, the skeleton meme. Using a reference image and the existing skeleton model, I slowly but surely replicated the meme. I duplicated the skeletons, changed their positioning and poses to match the photo, added a rain particle system, changed the cloud shader to match the clouds in the photo, messed around with the lighting, and boom, our final render. I know it isn't the best, but it made me proud. I've gone from utter turmoil and very crappy renders to these. That's at least a huge step in the right direction. Looking back, I noticed quite a lot of mistakes that I made. One of the most prominent things to me is the fact that there's really no variation in the color, nor is there any texture to it. It feels quite flat. Also, I should have brightened to change the main shadow color from being pure black to the dark red seen in the reference. Maybe next time. Let me know if there's any other way I can improve. I'd love to hear some tips. Hopefully next video I can get a much better and longer animation result. And if you're inspired, Blender is completely free and I strongly suggest you go try it. If an idiot like me can do this, I'm sure you can too. And, you know, maybe subscribe or something while you're at it, I don't know. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed and I'll see you later. Good night.